Sun being in the 12th, the Sun degrees being 6 degree 23 minutes. There are two planets ahead of Sun within the same house, which is Jupiter at 22 degrees 37 minutes. I have a Venus, which is 18 degree 12 minutes. Sorry, guys. I have a Saturn 17 degree 39 minutes. Okay. So these are the three planets in Virgo. So I would say with the king, there are two ministers ahead of the king, though they are in the same house. But this is only a I would say a consolation prize that if I do not have any planets ahead of Sun, if I have no planets behind Sun, like in my case, I have none. Okay, there are no planets in this 11th house. I only have two planets ahead of Sun. So then, if you find a similar horoscope, at least check, do we have planets with Sun? If we find no planets even with Sun in the same house, then definitely the king becomes weak. There will be a lot of things that the person would plan or the person would dream, and those dreams would be based on the strength of the sun. So if that sun, alone sun, a sun sitting all alone, if it's an exalted sun, so he would want to be the king. वो राजाओं वाली बातें करेगा कि मैं ऐसा करूंगा, वैसा करूंगा, मैं ये करूंगा, बट वो कुछ कर नहीं पाएगा या वहां तक नहीं कर पाएगा because he has no executioner behind him, ahead of him, or with him. So we don't, the moment we see the luminary sitting all alone, it is not a great thing to be. Same way, moon के साथ भी यही criteria है. There should be planets ahead of moon. There should be planets behind moon. In my case, now you see, I have moon in the 10th house. There are no planets in the 9th house. So no one behind my moon. And there are anyway no planets in the 11th house. So again, I have no planets ahead of moon. So this king again doesn't have support behind, doesn't have support, beyond of in the front. However, I will not rule it out saying this moon becomes terrible. Why? Because I would still say Mars at least takes that moon somewhere, because Rahu Ketu we don't count. Okay, I told it can be only those 5 planets, which is Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars. Venus and Mercury are not with my moon. Jupiter and Saturn are also not with my moon. And none of the planets are behind my moon. None of the planets are ahead of my moon. But the saving grace is this debilitated Mars. This debilitated Mars. Just imagine, we say it's a Neech Ka Mangal because Mars is debilitated in Cancer and exalted in Capricorn. So though it's a Mars, debilitated Mars, but this debilitated Mars has saved the king. वरना ये luminary दिशाहीन हो जाता. जिनका भी चंद्रमा अकेला होता है, उसके पीछे कोई ग्रह नहीं होता, उसके सामने भी कोई ग्रह नहीं होता, उसके साथ भी तो कोई ग्रह नहीं है, उसी को हम केम ध्रुम योग, एक बारी हम ये वर्ड हमने टच किया था, that it becomes,
what is it?
Came Dhrum Yoga. I'll anyways give the handout, Megha, that which will have all the yogas. Don't worry, it's prepared. It's just to be shared. I'll upload it.
सर ये एक बार शायद मेरा डिस्कस हो रहा था तब हुआ था, बिकॉज
शायद
नेक्स्ट में राहु है, बस पीछे कुछ नहीं है, आगे कुछ नहीं है, और वो सिटिंग अलोन इन हिज हाउस.
करेक्ट. एंड नाउ व्हेन वी सी अ केम ध्रुम योगा, वही हमने मून के लिए तो ये नाम बोल दिया, ऐसे हमने केम ध्रुम योगा सन के लिए नहीं बोलते हैं. बट आप लोग याद रखना, with the luminaries, even if they are sitting with a lot of strength based on the Rashi that they are in, strength based on the house they are in, like moon becomes very strong in the 2nd or the 4th house. आप 4th मान लो, सबसे ज्यादा दिशा बल या दिग्बल उसको 4th में मिलता है, तो वीनस भी सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग 4th में होता है, मून भी सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग 4th में होता है, जुपिटर is very strong और सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है 1st में, लग्ना. Mercury is strongest in the lagna. Saturn is strongest in the 7th. Mars and Sun are strongest in the 10th. I covered 7 planets. I repeat, Sun strongest in the 10th house.
Will you be sharing this in the notes that you'll, or the handouts you'll be
Yes,
sharing?
yes, you will have. So based on, if a planet is sitting with strength, and we look at the Rashis, we look at which houses they are sitting, how many places they have traveled. We discussed na कि अगर अपने से somebody moves 6th, 8th or 12th, then it becomes difficult for that house. But if they move 1, 5, 9 or 1, 4, 7, 10, it's good for the house. Okay. Same way, luminaries के लिए exception ये है कि अगर sun or moon, luminaries are these two in Vedic astrology, sun and moon. If these two planets are in good rashis, अपनी राशि में है, exalted राशि में है या मित्र की राशि में है, they are in good houses also as per their wherever they get more strength. However, if they are sitting all alone and if they do not have planets behind them or ahead of them, the luminaries tend to lose a lot of, I would say, power. बहुत कमजोर हो जाते हैं. चंद्रमा होता है तो हम उसको दिशाहीन बोल देते हैं कि इंसान में थोड़ी समझने की या मतलब मन दिशाहीन है, मतलब आप एक जगह फोकस ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. there is nobody ahead of moon to give you that moon a flavor. करना क्या है लाइफ में, पीछे भी होता, चाहे क्रूर ग्रह हो, सैटर्न चलेगा, मार्स चलेगा, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, all that will do. Jupiter is the best to be with moon, no doubts about it. However, अगर कोई भी नहीं है, that means चंद्रमा को आपके मन को पता ही नहीं है, आप में कंसंट्रेशन करने की क्षमता बहुत कम है, आपका लाइफ में एक फोकस ही नहीं है, करना क्या है, क्या उखाड़ना है, पता नहीं क्या ही उखाड़ रहे हो. और मैं ऐसे ही कह रहा हूं, बट
सर बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हैं.
नहीं ठीक है, वो आपके केस में थोड़ा ज्यादा ठीक इसलिए हो गया अगर है तो, क्योंकि शायद कोई दूसरा प्लैनेट उसको एस्पेक्ट भी नहीं कर रहा है शायद.
सर शनि की थर्ड एस्पेक्ट है.
अच्छा, बस तो वो डिफिकल्ट वाला एक है बेचारा, पर उसने बचा लिया. अगर उसने भी नहीं देखा होता तो देन दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग. अब मैं यही एक्सेप्शन बोल रहा था, इफ माय मून hadn't had this debilitated Mars sitting along, तो मेरा भी केमध्रुव योग कंफर्म हो जाता. Then I would have looked at, is there any planet aspecting my moon? Now, unfortunately, see how big the saving grace this Mars is, because no other planet actually aspects my moon. राहु केतु को हम गिनते नहीं है, तो राहु is with moon, don't count it. Ketu is in the 4th house aspecting my moon, again we can't count. Venus can only look at 7th from its own house, so it is only aspecting my 7th house. Mercury can only look 7 places, so it is only aspecting my 7th house. That means Venus and Mercury don't aspect my moon. Similarly, Jupiter can aspect 5th aspect, 7th aspect and 9th aspect, so it is falling in the 4th, 6th and 8th house. Again, it is not aspecting my moon. Saturn also has 3rd aspect, 7th aspect and 10th aspect. So my Saturn is aspecting my 2nd house, Saturn is aspecting my 6th house, and Saturn is aspecting my 9th house. Again, it doesn't touches my moon, right? Horrible ho jata, horrible. Matlab, if this debilitated Mars wouldn't have been there, even moon would have had some strength because it is sitting in its own Rashi. It's in Kark Rashi, the 10th Lord being in the 10th. Okay, by that virtue of the 10th Lord being in the 10th in its own house, maybe good for career. The 10th Lord sitting in its own sign because it's in Cancer, good. But all alone moon, because of that came Dhrum Yoga, and because of this Mars also just